Well, hi everybody. Lance here with the Rocky Mountain Life channel. And today we are out with the 2021 Beta 500 RRS doing some exploring. Gone to a place that I heard a lot about but never actually been to. So basically, I'm taking advantage of the wonderful weather that we have today. It's about 60 degrees, I think. And I've never been here before. Don't know what it all looks like. Figured I'd go and check it out. Sign says motorcycles are allowed, just no Jeeps. Okay. So, just going to do a little exploring today. Going to try and film as much of it as I can. And see what it all looks like out here. Seeing as how I've never been. It's beautiful country though. I've still been troubleshooting the audio issues with this DJI Osmo Action with my microphone plugged in to it directly. And so until I get that all fully sorted out, I wanted to try and limit my talking and camera work to slower speeds so that you could actually hear me. So this is the kind of place, of course I've been here for what, a minute and a half, but this is basically the kind of place I bought this bike to go to. I love being out in the forest, I love being out in the trees, I love mountains. To me there's just something about riding a motorcycle and just enjoying the scenery. And I like to enjoy pretty views, and to me even this right here is a pretty view. I love the trees, all this stuff is all good. So I have no idea how difficult this little road is going to be. It's an ATV road, so as of right now it's awfully wide, but for me I think the biggest challenge is it's kind of loose sand with a few softball sized rocks lying around loose in the trail. So I hope to not go down. I know eventually I'm going to go down on this bike. It's just the nature of riding dirt bikes, or actually motorcycles in general. Anybody who says that they've ridden motorcycles their whole life and never crashed, I would venture to say is lying, because you don't really learn how to ride a motorcycle without crashing. Especially if you start when you're a kid, because when you're a kid, your sense of mortality is limited. At least mine was. You always think, oh, it won't happen to me. I won't crash. You won't hurt me. I can do this. Well, that's not really the case all the time. So if you meet somebody that says, oh, I've been riding for 30 years and I've never dumped a bike yet, I would be highly suspicious. I don't know if I'd believe that. I suppose it's possible. I certainly don't fall into that category. I have crashed a lot over the years, and as I get older, I don't want to crash as much as I used to. So I'm not going to be pushing things too hard today. The bike is new and I'm not in a hurry to scratch it up by dumping it. And I'm still getting used to it. I really, like I've said in my initial impressions video, I haven't ridden really for 10 years almost. And so I'm definitely out of practice, I'm out of shape, and I'm not accustomed to this bike yet. I just finished the break-in period and did the first oil change, so I'm just going to try and ease into all this stuff. I know I'll get more aggressive as my confidence and my skill level gets warmed up a little bit, but right now old muscle memories are sort of groggy right now and complaining that I'm trying to make them wake up. But this is kind of the sort of stuff, I guess, that most of my videos are going to look like. Me finding places in Colorado here that I can explore. on the Beta and try and bring some interesting footage, hopefully. My wife says my Beta sounds like an angry lion. I've heard other people in other videos say it sounds like an angry bull. Since I lived in Africa for 2 years, South Africa, as a young man, I got to hear actual lions. Warning, flash flood area. Well, that sounds like less than enjoyable. I'll cut up the hill here. Now, one of the things, talk a little bit about riding in general. One of the things that I understand the concept of, but I admit I struggle with the application of, is a lot of times when you get into rougher stuff, momentum is your friend. And I think for most of us, I know definitely for me, the temptation when you're climbing something steep and it's really rough, even just like that tiny little section I just went through that was really short, and then we got back out here to this smooth, easy stuff. The temptation is to slow down, pick your way through the rocks. And like I mentioned in my prior video, I think, I never did really get any training. I was taught how to shift gears and work the clutch, how to start the bike, but that's it. Everything else I just did by, I learned by doing. Now these Beta RRSs, these street legal dual sports, come with mirrors, 2 mirrors, and they're these round, foldable, cheap little jobbies that are really not great, but because they are foldable, you can actually fold them down up against your handlebars and get them out of the way for this kind of stuff without having to actually take them all the way off. And then when I go back out, I'll just fold them back up and off I go, back out to the street. Oh yeah, get that angry lion out there. One of the guys that I watch, one of the YouTube channel guys that I subscribe to, Ferret Face Fail Productions, as well as Meeker Extreme, they were the guys that kind of got me interested in this Beta in a lot of ways. You should look them up. They're both really small channels, but they're local guys. I hope to be able to meet them sometime and ride with them, hopefully, if they will let a old man like me with bad skills ride along. But Meeker Extreme in particular ended up with a 2019 Beta 500 RRS. But I think, don't quote me on this, but I think he got it as a loaner from Beta as a way to review it, because he had it for I think about a year and then he had to take it back and turn it back into Beta. But that was probably the first video I remember watching about a Beta 4-stroke dual sport bike. Now, the dealership in Colorado Springs, Apex, they're the ones that first told me about them, and that was where I first laid eyes on one, but I didn't know anything about it. I'd never heard about Beta before. I had no clue. I'd actually gone in there asking them when they were going to get a new Honda XR 650L. That's kind of what I was really going after. And then I was also thinking about getting a DRZ 400. So I started doing a little research and started looking for videos online about Betas, and in particular the 500 RRS, because that was the one that I was pretty interested in, was the 500. And so I found Meeker Extreme in his video. That in turn, I think, also led me to Ferret Face, because I think roughly around the same time Ferret Face got a 2019 390 that he bought, and he did a review video and I found that, and it just kind of went from there. So In a lot of ways, I have those two guys to thank and also blame that I have a, do I dare say the price? It might scare somebody away who wants to buy a Beta. With my aftermarket parts, this fender bag, skid plate, hand guards, everything I did to the bike, battery tender, phone mount, everything that I put into it, altogether, OHV permit, temporary street tag, all that stuff, everything that I paid the dealership to do for me, I was $13,000. So in a sense, I can thank and blame those guys for me buying a $13,000 motorcycle. But boy, I can tell you, this feels so different off on this stuff. This isn't even hard. It's not even single track. This is ATV trails, a few little rocks here and there, a couple little steep spots, but for the most part, this is not difficult stuff. But I can already tell, in just a few minutes I've been out here with it, that this feels totally different and behaves totally different than my old KLR would have on this stuff. Because I used to ride this kind of thing on the KLR 650 all the time, and it did it, and I had fun, but I was always exhausted afterwards. And I was almost 20 years younger back then. Please close the gate. That's how I get back out to the road, I guess. It's too soon for that. I just hope I can find my way out of here. Having never been here before, I got to retrace my steps and find my way back out so I can go home. But not for a while yet. I got more things to explore, more things to go see. Meeker and Ferret Face Fail Productions. Meeker Extreme and Ferret Face Fail Productions is the names of those guys' channel. Both very small channels, but I enjoy them. I like watching them. A lot of it has to do with the fact that they're local, so they go to places that I could potentially have access to, and I like that. Some of these things I could jump off of if I was a little braver, had a little more speed. But until I get more familiar with this bike, I'm going to be careful. Face plant out here by myself. I don't have anybody with me. That's the other reason I got to be careful. Because when you're by yourself, you fall and you break your ankle or something like that, and you can't ride, or heaven forbid something worse. I don't know how long I might lay out here. I actually haven't checked my phone to see if I have cell phone coverage. I think I might. This isn't really that far from a road. It's only a few miles outside of Manitou Springs. But still, I work in a hospital. I don't want to go there on my day off. Now, normally this area, I think, is probably pretty busy on the weekends. This is a very well-known area. And I can tell by the tracks and everything, it's heavily used. Hey, I've been here before. And but this is Wednesday. I'm out here on a Wednesday. It's the beauty of only working 3 days a week. So I have 4 days a week during the weekdays to come out and play out here in these kind of places, and it's not crawling with ATVs and other motorcycles. Finding neutral in these motocross boots gets a little tricky. So one of the things I was going to point out, if you can see it, is the bottom of the kickstand. One of the complaints in recent years the Beta has gotten with these kickstands is they're sharp at the end. They're thin, they're small, and it doesn't take much to have those things sink into the ground. You can't hold your bike up. Well, they didn't really redesign it this year. They might have done this last year too, actually, come to think of it, in 2020. But they've basically bolted on a foot to the bottom of it. Not ideal, but it does make the footprint bigger, and so it's a little more stable. It's a pretty short kickstand as kickstands go, though. I mean, I'm here on basically level ground, and you can see the angle that bike sits at. So you just kind of have to be aware of that. The kickstand is a bit of a weakness on these bikes. It's actually good to get out here on this main road, get up to a little bit more speed, cool me off a little bit. It's getting warm. Really, I'm just looking for another road here, dead end. No, that's not what I want. So there's a trail up here, just a number. We've got people building campfires out here, piling up rocks out in the middle of the road, leaving beer cans. Yeah, oh gosh, it just drives me nuts. One thing I was going to mention, in case you're not aware, is these Beta RRSs come with a Trail Tech Voyager GPS unit on the dash. Standard. It's not the Pro version. It doesn't have the colors, and the screen is not that big. It's black and white, but it comes as part of the bike. It's part of the price. Now, I have not gone through the instruction manual yet on how to work it. I fiddled with it a little bit, learned how to reset my trip odometer and things like that, but it's actually quite cool. It's got, shows your elevation, it shows your RPMs, it shows your engine temperature. It's got a compass on it, and it's an actual GPS unit. You can download those, I don't know what the file extension is, GPX or something like that, you can actually download routes and things and stick them in there and have it navigate you. I haven't figured that out yet, but it comes with that. So that's also something that the other brands do not come with. I can definitely tell I'm out of shape for doing this kind of stuff. There's that rough section I came up earlier. For me, going up's always easier than coming down, I think. Even though you can just kind of coast your way down. But for me, for feeling like I'm in control, I actually prefer going up, I think. Well, there's the first tip over. Just when I was talking about how I feel better coming uphill than down, I had to dump it over going down a hill. That's one of the reasons I put low profile bullet style blinkers on the back. I should have been able to save that one. That's being rusty and reflex is not great. So the bike fell, but I did not. I was able to land on my feet and run it out. And that's also why I put radiator guards on this bike. It's also why I put hand guards on this bugger. See if we can avoid doing that again. But that kind of goes back to my point I was saying at the beginning. That if you meet somebody that says they don't crash when they're riding dirt bikes, and they never have, I think they're a liar. So anyway, guys, I'm working my way back down, and I hope you guys have a safe winter. I'm going to make videos as I can about this bike and try and explore and show you these places here in Colorado that I think are so pretty, and places that I've never been, and we can kind of explore them together. But of course, here in this time of year, as you can already tell with the snow on the ground, I'm not sure how often I'll be able to do it for the next few months while it's cold and snowy. But if you like what I'm doing and you enjoy this stuff, just like everybody else on YouTube, I will ask you to please give me a thumbs up and a subscription. But if you're enjoying these things, I'm going to try and bring you more content like this, and I'd appreciate a subscription. And I hope you guys have your own adventures where you live, and I hope you also be safe, be respectful to the environment and to the rules and regulations that they put on it, even if you don't agree with them. It's just going to be better in the long run for everybody. If it says don't go up that hill, don't go up that hill. If it says pack out all your trash, pack out all your trash. You guys take care. Keep enjoying the Rocky Mountain life.